listening to The Watchers, a show with... Nope.
A show with two women.
Two women with ADHD. You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch TV and movies about female friendships, witches, and that random guy in town that everybody thinks is a creep, but actually has a sad backstory. How many more tropes can we get in one movie from other movies?
I know.
Yeah. I'm Jodie.
I'm Andrea.
I almost said I'm Andrea. And we watched Now and Then.
Now and Then. Or as Bobby Wigan insists on calling it with every interview I watched her do, Then and Now.
Sure.
Demi Moore had to finally correct her. But anyway, she's been popping up a lot lately when I do my research, this Bobby Wigan lady who seems to, I don't know anything about her. Well, we're going to talk about this movie, but she's been popping up a lot lately. And just like, it just seems like, I'm going to find out she's a legend and everybody's going to like send me hate mail. But it just seems like an older lady who like in retirement decided she wanted to be a television journalist. It's very, very strange, but
interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah. So we watched this on the heels of a bunch of other like quote unquote women's movies. We just watched Little Women. We watched Steel Magnolias. We watched what else?
We watched Mermaids.
Mermaids, right.
We watched Moonstruck, which doesn't really count, but we watched a lot of movies with strong, well-developed women characters.
Yeah, yeah. All from this general 80s, 90s era as well. This movie came out the day after my birthday in 1995.
Beautiful.
I was 19, I believe.
Yeah, I was 9, so that's right.
Yeah, this was actually, this came out the day after I turned 20.
It's kind of like right between us, where I was like, I loved this movie, as I said. I was a little young.
And I was definitely too old for it.
Right, because you hadn't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Right.
Nope.
Okay.
I hadn't even really heard of it. I think I remembered the cover from the video store because this came out like reasonably, like a few months before I started working at the video store. So like this, I saw the cover on the shelf, but I never watched it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I think if you love it, you grow up loving it. But it seems to have only in recent years really kind of like come back around as a movie people talk about.
Well, and so that seems to me almost entirely because it was unavailable until 2019 for streaming anywhere. Netflix finally put it up in 2019, and it created this like rash of articles about the movie because no one had been able to find it before then.
Not funny.
Yeah, these things just kind of disappear into the ether. I mean, like we talked about that with Pump Up the Volume. It just, because of the soundtrack, was impossible to find.
Yeah.
And
I definitely had this as one of my Nana's bootlegs, which I'm sure I've talked about, which I know I've talked about on this podcast, that she was an early media pirate for some reason.
We all were, just maybe not to that extent. But like we all had recorded off the TV, like, you know. That's why those commercials exist on YouTube now, because people recorded TV shows.
It's so funny. Yeah, I think she was the only person like in her 70s I knew who was collecting movies that she, you know, it's not like she had, but it's like it was her, my inheritance, you know, was her VHS tapes. Yeah. It's not true. I obviously don't have any of them anymore, but.
Yeah. It did okay. It didn't do as for a movie that was, as we'll talk about when we get to the reviews, kind of panned. It grossed like almost $38 million worldwide.
And the budget was pretty, you can imagine just from watching it. It's not like it had a huge budget. I think it was like $12 million, $12.5 million, something like that.
Yeah. It debuted in number 2. It debuted at the same time as, around the same time as Get Shorty and Seven, which are two very different. I mean, mid-90s is like the heyday of the like toxic man heist movie. Like Pulp Fiction was the year before this. You know, it was a lot of really like darkly funny.
But also violent in the same breath. But also
extremely violent, And I think I said this last week, that's why those were the movies I was watching then. Like, I was heavily influenced by the people I was hanging out with.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching both of them because I was a young girl, but most of my family members are older, and I have a brother who's 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
But I also read somewhere that all of the younger actors, the young girls in this movie, were going to see Pulp Fiction together. They
obsessively,
they had like a contest of who had seen it the most.
Yeah.
So I love how real that is. Like, you and I talk about that experience a lot of being young people watching movies that maybe we probably weren't quite, especially me, like a little too young. And I was like, oh, I love being able to relate to them about that specific thing.
Well, and most of the young actors in this film are like between our ages. And actually, I don't know if you saw, there's a YouTube behind the scenes video of the girls on set. That's not much happens. They're kind of bumbling around a cemetery.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet. And in they're showing them doing their homework in the trailer, and Gabby Hoffman has a poster of Billy Joe from Green Day on her wall.
That could have been a direct quote from me in that same year.
She's like, it was so perfect.
He's the best person, and I love him. And then it like pans over, and it's a picture of Billy Joe.
It was great.
Love of my life.
That's the funny part about it, is like, this is such a, to me, and you know, I completely understood watching it why it has a hold on a whole like group and generation of women, but also watching it for the first time at my age, it just didn't like reach me in that way.
Of course, yeah.
But the like girly sweetness of this movie contrasted with like what these girls' lives were actually like is really interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. It is so, I forgot how sweet this movie is and just how cute, as I hadn't seen it in I mean, since I had it on VHS when I was a kid. And so I was, it's so sweet, and it's so, just cute is the word I kept thinking. I kept watching it being like, oh, that's so cute. Look how cute they are.
It tries to combine that with sort of really dark themes. And I think that's where, for me, it didn't really hold together, was like, it felt like they were trying to do too much, and at the same time, like, not actually fulfilling the storylines in all the different areas.
Well, it's funny. It felt to me, so it,
let's talk, well, why don't we talk about the background of it first? Because I feel like it'll make more sense. This was written by Marlene King.
She says when she was 10 years old, which is what I was just about to say. Well, that's what I was just about to say, is that like those darker beats and stuff feel to me like, and we're going to talk about it. It's in every article and review at the time. This movie feels like Stand By Me for girls. And so, and I'm okay with that. I'm not really bothered by that. We needed a Stand By Me for girls, I kind of feel like.
Yeah.
And so thank her for doing it. But I will say her writing it at 10 years old, it felt to me a little bit like a young person being like, oh, what would be really dramatic in this movie? And that's the kind of...
She falls down a drain.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm sort of charmed by.
Drain.
It's a big drain. It's so funny that there's a near-death experience like that in this movie that is so dramatic. It's a kid falling down a drain and being rescued by... But so knowing again that this movie, who knows how much of it was written when she was 10, whatever, but like... that kind of stuff I'm really charmed by in this movie. So.
Yeah. And it does a little bit feel like a kid came up with some of it, you know? And totally. I think that's, like you said, that's part of the charm in a way, especially if you watch it as a kid, because it's like the wish fulfillment thing. It's like when you're a little kid, you're like, I'm going to grow up to be an actress. I'm going to grow up to be a writer. And it's like, they just did. And there's no how they got there. There's no anything about what their lives are like. It's just actress, writer, mom, like whatever the other one is.
A 10-year-old would imagine their lives would be like. The actress,
a writer, like drives
and the actress shows up in a big white limo that is just waiting outside for her, like all of that stuff. And I just think,
and the writer is driving like a sports car, smoking lots of cigarettes, and wearing like a suit vest,
her all black wardrobe.
Yeah,
and I think that as a kid, it didn't seem far fetched to me. It felt really real, and as an adult, it's just feels really nice and charming and warm, and so I don't mind it in either way. Though again, I can imagine if I were reviewing this movie in 1995 as an adult, I might feel differently. So.
Yeah, the writer, Melanie King, said, this was really my childhood. I had some best friends. We did seances in the graveyard. We loved a good mystery. And that just kind of like sums it up.
You know what I was thinking about with that is their childhood. So if you didn't watch the movie, it's loosely a frame narrative, which I remembered there being more back and forth. There's not.
It's bookended by the adult timeline.
Of 4 women coming together after years and years apart because they made a pact as children that they would come together if they ever needed each other. One of them is pregnant and due very soon. Right. And they all get together and reminisce about the summer where that pact was made.
Right.
That's the movie.
Yep.
And so when you get to the set, when you're in the 70s, I was thinking about the fact, like, that felt so much like my childhood. Like, there wasn't much difference.
Right. It's pre-internet mostly.
That's the thing. You know? And it's like a version of this movie today would be 2025 if it were, that were present day.
Good God.
The past would be the year 2000.
I don't want to know.
But think about how different those scenes would be compared to 2025, as opposed to, like, what doesn't feel that different to me between 1970 and my childhood in 1995.
Yeah, the only real time marker in that, like, to show that difference, obviously the cars and the clothes and stuff like that, but we talked about this with Dazed and Confused, how it felt very 90s in the 70s. Or 70s in the 90s, whatever. It felt like the same thing.
Yeah.
And so the cars here, the clothing, but really the only nod to the time that is that obvious is our cameo,
uncredited cameo
from our Vietnam vet Brendan Fraser.
So funny.
Random.
So random. I couldn't get a ton of information about how that even happened, except that a Hollywood Reporter saying that originally it was going to go to Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Wild.
Which would have been a lot for me to handle at that young age, but...
Yeah.
But I don't know what... And then the fact that he's only in that one little scene.
And he has no real impact other than the one line he says about, like, trusting yourself and parents aren't always right. Like, it's... His wisdom is very unrelated to the fact that he was in Vietnam in a way. Like, it could be directly related in a very deep and heavy way, but it's not connected in that way at all.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, like we said, written by Marlene King, who now is known for Pretty Little Liars.
Which I didn't know much about. And just reading the description of that show, I was like, man, if Jodie and I get back to pilots...
Oh,
at any point, I think we're going to have to watch the Pretty Little Liars pilot now.
I don't know why I have it's a part of a group of TV shows that I'm just like, that's not my generation.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not mine either.
Yeah.
Like, I was definitely too old for it's like that and Gossip Girl and those shows that I just never got into because I was past it, I think.
Yeah.
But just the way they've talked about that one. Maybe we should try to relate to the young folk for a few weeks and just watch a couple of those pilots.
Marlene King now does a lot of TV work, as does the director, Leslie Linka Glatter. She is really known for her TV directing now, much more so than her film work.
Isn't that funny how people seem to, like, find a lane?
Yeah. I mean, she directed one of the most famous episodes of Mad Men.
Oh.
And she's worked on Homeland, Twin Peaks, West Wing, Walking Dead. Like, she's been doing TV for quite a while. She began her career as a dancer, though. Mm-hmm. This was one of my favorite fun facts. She choreographed the music video for Sheila E.'s Glamorous Life, which is... As an 80s kid, like, Sheila E. was a big fucking deal. Mm-hmm. And so were all of those music videos that were very heavy on the dancing. Like Paula Abdul, Janet Jackson, like, that was a whole very important genre to me. Mm-hmm. But this was her first feature film as well. And she was one of 4 female directors to be nominated for an Emmy this year in 2025 for outstanding directing in a limited series for 0 Days.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good for her. I don't know what 0 Days is.
Me either, but she's still quite active. And, in that on-set, behind the scenes video that we both watched, Demi Moore is, because she was a co-producer on the film, was talking about how rare it is to have like so many of the different roles filled by women.
Yeah, 'cause like not just that most of the cast, there are like 3 men. There are like 4 boys and 2 men in this movie.
Yeah.
And she was saying like grips, like all kinds of people. And then she, very funny, was like, we have a couple of men also.
Yeah. We need them for balance. They contribute a lot.
It was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so that's, I mean, I don't have a whole lot about, it was hard to find information beyond the like director, producer, writer info.
Yeah, not a ton. The only person that I think is maybe really worth highlighting just for our purposes is the editor, Jacqueline Cambis, who also was the editor on Mermaids. So that's a little connection there.
I feel like there's a lot of those little fun crossover things happening in these 90s movies we're looking at. As we go through the cast, I think we can talk a little bit more about like each of the 4 main characters and their like the slots that they fill into as girl characters. But I mean, this was quite the cast, especially in the 90s.
I know.
The people like that were involved were a pretty big deal. We have, so the way that it was organized online, which actually made a lot more sense to me, was by character and then the 2 people that played them. I will say it took me a while to figure out who was connected to who, because the Rosie O'Donnell, Christina Ricci connection did not make sense to me. It, to me, should have been Christina Ricci and Demi Moore. But yeah, there was like the people who, like we talk about with Yellow Jackets, how good the connection between the young and old cast is and how much like they both physically resemble each other, but also like,
well, and I think that's one of the issue. Like you get who they are as adults told mostly through newspaper and TV guide covers in the opening credits. You know, there's stuff about Roberta as a doctor and blah, blah, blah. And you don't get a lot of time of them interacting as adults to define...
Almost none.
Yeah, to define the characters in that way to connect them back. As opposed to... I mean, it's a movie, so of course they have less time, but they...
But it does end up relying a lot more heavily on visual cues, and the visual cues just aren't as good as they are in Yellow Jackets.
Right,
like,
right.
You know, Christina Ricci resembles Demi Moore just on the surface much more than she does Rosie O'Donnell.
I did watch, though... interview with Christina Ricci in 1999 on the Rosie O'Donnell show where they talked about it. And Rosie was like, I think we look enough alike. We both have round faces, big foreheads. We've got these little Irish noses.
Yeah.
And so like, sure. like,
Sure. Yeah. I could see why at the time they were like, close enough.
But I think you're right that the bigger issue isn't necessarily that they don't look a ton alike. It's that Christina and Demi look so much alike. Like if there were a different actor playing either Christina or Demi, it might not have been such an issue. But they do look really similar.
I know. I kept doing the thing in my head where I was like brunettes, but those are not the same people. But they, to me in my head, they are. But now I'm confused. Who's Roberta? Who's like? Yeah, it took me quite a minute to get to what was actually happening. But
it also doesn't really matter all that much because you don't do much with the women. So
right, there's not much going on in the present timeline other than, you know, Chrissy is having a baby.
Is it the needing the adult voice to reflect? Not needing.
Like why they...
Because I don't think we needed it. But
I mean, from a cynical perspective, I feel like you need the star power of the adult women,
and I wonder if it would have been thought of as more of a kids movie without the adults. And then also, of course, Stand By Me for girls. So, not that we get... I mean, Dreyfus is the only adult.
Yeah. But it's looking back.
Right.
Yeah. And there is something very different about looking at, as we've talked about endlessly with Yellow Jackets, the difference between looking back at childhood through an adult lens versus living in a 12-year-old's point of view. Like, that's a very different thing and a very different movie.
You know what I just realized? That when, as we know and we've talked about, when Yellow Jackets was originally pitched, the difference was supposed to be this difference,
70s to the
and
90s. Yep.
And so it may have looked a little bit more like Now and Then.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably would have. So our first character is Roberta. She's Christina Ricci as a young person and Rosie O'Donnell as an adult. She's the tomboy. I was so relieved when I know
read, what you're going to say. Yeah.
So relieved when I read that originally this character was supposed to be gay, because obviously, when Scott or whatever the fuck kisses her, I'm like, what? I got so mad. And then afterwards I read the article that said, like, actually, no, she was supposed to be a gay character. And then they changed it during production. They shot the movie with the intention of her being gay, but when they screened it for test audiences, this is like so fucking classic 90s. They screened it for test audiences, and the fact that Roberta is an OBGYN delivering Chrissy's baby and was gay was the thing that they couldn't handle. It was like, the literal quote is, they were like, quote, ew, she's a lesbian and she's looking at her vagina.
If that doctor had been a male doctor and hadn't been one of their friends, nobody would have said, ew, it's a man looking at her vagina.
I know. And so the writer ended up changing it because, apparently she was like, I can't believe they actually cared, but they changed it. King said, it wasn't my decision by any way, shape, or form. I know Rosie was really upset when they changed it at the last minute. We all were. That's like... It's frustrating, and it also made me feel a lot better that I wasn't... Because there's a lot of these movies from the 80s and 90s where, we read queer intentions into characters because there weren't other options. But this was like, come on.
Right, yeah.
Like, it made no sense when it flipped in that moment of her going from, like, a complete... like classic characteristic tomboy, taping her boobs, like no interest in boys. And yes, there's plenty of tomboys that end. Obviously, I don't need to qualify everything about this conversation. It's like part of my life. But
that's what the movie was signaling.
Absolutely, especially with like Rosie O'Donnell specifically playing the older part in the movie.
That probably would have helped you keep the characters straight, for lack of a better word, if they had been allowed to be openly queer. You probably could have connected Rosie a little better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's also, take the queerness or lack thereof out of it. It's a little, there's something so funny and maybe a little 10 years old to me. Again, who knows what was written, but about the idea that Roberta is not interested in boys until she has her first kiss, and that makes her stop taping her boobs.
Right.
It's so, like... I think that's
it's
so
complete
funny.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
O'Donnell was not out yet at this point, but she was very publicly suspected.
Which that's frustrating too, because I wonder how important it felt to her at the time in a kind of
to play a queer character,
a safer way of acknowledging it. So bisexuality had only been invented 2 years before,
right?
So.
Like, how. You would never know what your options were before they came up with that idea.
So,
I did a little bit more background research on Rosie O'Donnell, which I've never really done. She was just kind of a part of the ether of my growing up because of the show, the Rosie O'Donnell show.
I think there were a handful of girls my age who became Rosie O'Donnell fans because she was, I don't know if you don't know this, she was obsessed with NSYNC, and they kind of loved her, and they did the show a bunch of times, and they had like a great rapport, and I felt really warm toward Rosie because I knew NSYNC really liked Rosie, and so like I watched the show because So I know quite a bit about Rosie at this point in my life.
That's really funny. She went to Comac High School in New York. She was homecoming queen, prom queen, senior class president, like just, and class clown. And she was a comedy person. Like, that's the thing. Like, people that know her from the talk show or from acting, like, she started as a comedian. She was on Star Search.
That's right.
When she was 20 years old. There's a fun story where she was at a comedy club on Long Island, and a random woman came up to her and said, I think you're funny. Can you give me your number? My dad is Ed McMahon. And she was like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
And so she gave her the number. She didn't believe her. And then 3 days later, the talent booker from Star Search called her.
That rules. That's so good.
Yeah. So after that, after Star Search, she ended up on like a bunch of guest spots on TV shows. And then she ended up with her talk show between 96 and 2002. She was also like a really well-known philanthropist. The one thing that I was reading all this background info. It's like, oh, she gives all this money to charity. She moved to Ireland in 2025 because of Trump and, to protect her kid and her family. But I also, again, people have opinions that change, but she did question the strength of steel in the
oh my God, was she a
World Trade?
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams? Or?
Literally, yes.
Oh, Rosie, I
hope she has changed her tune. I'm sure, people have bad opinions and then change them. But she said, I do believe that it's the first time in history that fire has ever melted steel. So.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Palate cleanser. The year after Now and Then, she was O'Galley and Harriet the Spy. So.
There you go. Yep. She also was on this show called The Fosters that I watched.
I don't know The Fosters.
It was this is going to be such a random tangent, but it was a show about a queer couple, 2 women who adopted a bunch of kids. And so I watched it just because there was so little. This was like in 2014. There just wasn't a lot of media at the time that was showing like different lifestyles. And so in this movie, she's like a social worker that works with foster kids. Or in this TV show. That was the most recent thing I had seen her on until she popped up recently in an episode of And Just Like That.
Okay, you told me about this, and I genuinely just stared at my phone for a minute.
I couldn't believe I had to type the sentence.
I had no idea what to say back to you.
What could you? The sentence that I said to you, we were talking about this movie, and I said, because you brought up that she had a small part in A League of Their Own, which we both watched and loved and talked about endlessly.
In the show. She has a huge part in the movie. One day we'll watch them.
Yes, obviously. Yes, in the show by Abby Jacobson, et cetera. But then I said she had a guest spot on And Just Like That. And you said, oh, Lord, how was that? Because I have mentioned recently to you, maybe on the pod, maybe not, that for some reason I'm still watching this horrible,
hilarious,
ridiculous, awful show that has just... It's one of the worst things I've seen on television in a really long time. And because I watched Sex and the City in real time as a 20-something living in New York, I feel like contractually obligated to watch this version.
The impression, because you and then my old podcast hosts, the I Don't Get It girls, all watch it. And I've gotten the impression from all of you that everybody thinks it's terrible.
It's
and
awful.
Maybe even the show knows that. And
that's being generous, I think, to think they're doing this like semi on purpose, because they've taken all these characters that were flawed and in lots of ways that have been discussed to death, but have made them like basically unrecognizable. Like Miranda is one of the worst. And so Rosie O'Donnell's guest spot, like Miranda has come out. Great. Wonderful. Who cares? Lots of people come out in their later years.
Who cares? Lots of people come out. So Jersey of you. Yeah, big whoop. Big whoop. A lot of people come out. Good for you, Miranda.
We always kind of, if one of them was going to be gay, it was going to be her, right? She was the smart one. But so her coming out process has been they've made it a full joke.
Oh, boy.
And like, there is humor in the process of coming out later in life that can be explored, but they've made her this complete joke. To the point where, like, in the first season, Sarah Ramirez plays Che, stand-up comic. The scenes of... Well, that's a separate thing. But the quote-unquote stand-up comic scenes that Sarah Ramirez plays in are the most cringe-inducing thing I've ever seen.
Oh, boy.
But in the new season, Rosie O'Donnell shows up for an episode or two as a nun who is gay... And wait, let me read the actual sentence I sent to you. You said, oh, Lord, how was that? I said, not good. She played a gay nun who was deflowered by Miranda, which is a sentence I wish I didn't have to say.
I wish I didn't have to read it.
It's like, why are we doing this to Rosie O'Donnell?
Speechless.
Yeah.
At least in A League of Their Own, she gets to be a cool, like, queer, kind of like secret bar owner.
Absolutely.
That rules.
Give her all of those roles as like a cool queer elder that was like, there the whole time and like, being a mentor to young queer people. Perfect. Give her that. Like that. My God. I think, it's obviously our phones are listening to us, but my TikTok feed lately has just been people complaining about it and just like that.
That's so funny.
It's the worst thing I've seen in a really long time.
A room of writers decided that was worth...
There's a whole thing about how Lisa, one of the newer characters that has like one storyline that will never end. She's making a documentary, and she's been making a documentary for a really long time, and all she does is make this documentary. Her dad died in this season, but in season 1, she had already said that her dad was dead. Like, they're not paying attention. It's crazy.
So funny.
For, like, an institution of a show like Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Good job, Kim Cattrall, getting the fuck away
out
before this actually, this mess happened, and they ruined your character, too.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Anyway, that was a long little side note on Rosie O'Donnell, but I just, like... What a career that has ended up in such a weird place with, like, the president threatening her citizenship.
Yeah, well, she has had some trouble politically in general. I think, no matter what side you're on, I think some people have found her difficult.
When she was on The View, she criticized Trump for some Miss America pageant stuff or Miss USA or whatever the fuck, who cares. She criticized Bush, the Iraq War, and a lot of that stuff she was on the right side of things, but she can be like very sort of brash and hard-headed about it, and didn't really endear her to a lot of people. So, we don't need to go over Christina Ricci's credits. We can just say this was, she had done Mermaids, which was her first role, Addams Family, and Casper. Casper was the same year.
We were really, her and Devon Sawa, we really were.
Yeah, apparently that was, people were shipping the two of them, which is typical, I guess.
She also, just because we have to, obviously, she is from Jersey. She's one of our Jersey connections in this movie, so
yes,
we have to point it out.
Yes, it must be done. Our next character is Teeny. She's the actor, rich kid, parents never around, played by Thora Birch as a young person, and Melanie Griffith as the older version. And
I'm guessing Thora Birch doesn't mean too much to you. I'm trying to think of what she's been in that would be...
To me, American Beauty.
Because you haven't seen Ghost World, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we have to watch Ghost World at some point. I'm sorry. But she's one of those that I kind of was always waiting for her to really kind of pop off.
Well, it's interesting because she had a similar, in some ways, track to Melanie Griffith, who plays the older version. Really bright beginning, and then smaller roles to...
Yeah, because she's always working. She never goes more than a year or two between projects.
Right.
But it's nothing...
She did take some time off to get a legal degree.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, Hocus Pocus. She's the young girl in Hocus Pocus, we have to say.
Yeah.
Those are her three big ones, though, I think, now and then. Ghost World, Hocus Pocus. Oh, American Beauty, of course.
Yeah. She also recently directed a Lifetime television movie about the Gabby Petito story, which is the girl that was killed by her boyfriend during COVID.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Melanie Griffith is another one of the... when we talk about how women were being, outwardly ranked on their bodies, by magazines, there was an 89 Rolling Stone piece that came out right after Working Girl, which was her big break. Not that she wasn't in things before that, but that was the thing she got a lot of attention for. And in the article it said, before Working Girl, Melanie Griffith was known mostly for her beautiful body and the way that nearly half her directors suggested she expose it.
Gross.
Even better... So being Miss Golden Globe is a thing that like Hollywood kids tend to get to do, specifically women. They basically like you're on stage at the Golden Globes bringing awards out, I think.
Okay.
And she was named Miss Golden Globe in 1975. And there was a profile of her in Newsweek. Same thing. I just have to point this out because sometimes I think people don't understand like
how blatant it was.
Fucking toxic it was to grow up like this. In 1975, she was like, I think around 14, 15.
She was born in 1957.
Okay,
so she would have been
that.
18.
Okay. The quote is, she has the body of a sensuous woman, the pouting chipmunk face of a teenager, and the voice of a child. And suddenly she's showing them all. Newsweek.
Hey, Newsweek, do you know why she has the face of a teenager or whatever the fuck you said?
Because she's a fucking teenager.
Because she's a teenager.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Suddenly she's showing them all?
Yeah. Well, she
just said one of the things she's showing is the voice of a child, as if that's... And then using that...
Yep.
That is horrific.
She also met Don Johnson, who she started dating when she was 14. She met him at 14. He was 22. They began dating. They married for 6 months from January to July 1976. So, yay. She's also Dakota Johnson's mother.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I watched this week?
What?
Materialists.
Oh, you did? I haven't seen it yet.
She's a peculiar actor. Like,
she is.
I can't tell. I know I'm not saying anything new. I can't tell if she's a good or bad actor.
I know. I don't think anyone can. It's an open question.
Fascinating.
I know. It's really weird.
I don't think that movie was good. I don't know if it was. I will say, I finally get Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves him.
I know. I've always thought he was wonderful as a person. I've never gotten the attraction part of it.
Well, you only watched the pilot of Last of Us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll change if you watch the rest of it.
Well,
he's very charming. Yeah.
They also Chris Evans with a beard. So that's all I have to say about Chris Evans.
Yeah. Teenie in the movie is just a girly girl, very like flirty and ahead of her years and wants to be an actor and all of that. Yeah,
she kind of has the least traumatic of childhoods in this movie.
Yeah, she's just alone a lot. Her parents aren't around.
One of the things I like about this movie is how level it is very much like everything is the most important thing for these kids. And because there's even a moment where when Roberta finds out that the story she'd been told about her mother's death was a lie and that it was much more horrific. Her father, understandably, I think, told her as a young person that her mom's death was painless and quick and an angel came and took her away. What really happened was she was in a horrific car accident. She was pinned and aware for over an hour and then died later in the hospital from internal bleeding and head injuries. Awful, awful, awful. She finds that out. She eventually has a breakdown about it. And then Gabby Hoffman's character says, I know how you feel. My parents are getting divorced. And
oh, my God.
I thought Roberta's going to punch her.
Yeah.
But no, she's like, she doesn't feel like she's being like dismissed or like whatever. She doesn't take offense to that comparison, which I think is offensive. But when you're a kid, it probably for Samantha, that is her world ending too. And I kind of like that the movie doesn't try to like, again, not that I'm saying it is the same thing, but I do think there's something kind of that feels kind of right about the way it treats those things.
Yeah, and as an adult watching it, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
No, everything seems huge at that time, like regardless of its actual sort of standing.
Right.
As like what type of trauma it is. Yeah. There's like, actually in the sort of, the first thing that I always go to is just like, honestly, the Wikipedia plot summary, just to like see how it's broken down. And literally in that, it says, each of the four girls is experiencing her own individual struggles. Samantha's parents are in the midst of a divorce. Tina is in pursuit of stardom and is boy crazy. Those are the same. Mm-hmm. Roberta is embarrassed by her developing breasts, and Chrissy is naive about sex and life in general. We don't even mention that her mom died. Like, it's just, it's more about her being embarrassed of having boobs.
That's hilarious.
So
Jesus
but it does flatten
Christ.
out all the different. Sorry, I didn't do that on purpose.
It does to flatten out all of the
all the differences between different traumas. So that is Teeny. And then we have, let's see, who do I have next? Samantha, who we mentioned, is our narrator, our writer, played by Demi Moore as an adult and Gabby Hoffman as a young person. It's funny. I was reading about Gabby Hoffman's career, and people are like, oh, you might know her from this or that thing. I'm like, transparent. Nobody's mentioning, like, they mentioned at the end, they're like, oh, and, she had a role in Transparent. I'm like, that's the thing I know her from. I didn't know half the other shit.
That's so funny, because I grew up with her. Like,
That's
Uncle
so
Buck
funny.
is a favorite movie of mine.
Yeah,
Field of Dreams, of course. But she's all, and The Man Without a Face, a deeply problematic movie that I loved so much.
I also know her from Girls.
Sleepless in Seattle, yes. So you didn't get to her again. Then, of course, for me now and then. 200 Cigarettes, another movie. Have you seen 200 Cigarettes?
I don't know.
We're gonna have to watch that one.
Who the hell knows?
Podcast can never end. But I was already super aware of her. From those movies. She's also an Obvious Child, which is the
right, but that's later also.
Yeah, she's in an episode of Veronica Mars.
I think
again. Did you say Girls already?
Yeah. She also was in Louis C.K.'s show as a ex-girlfriend.
Oh, and she's in an episode of Poker Face too. So, I think of her way more as a child actor who continued to work. So
right. Meanwhile, I didn't know her really at all as a child actor, and really got to know her in the like mid 2010s.
It's funny,
but I mean, she's great at, as an adult, a very specific kind of character, and plays kind of, I would say, a version of that in a couple of different roles. Sort of this outsider type, not quite tied to the conventions of society. Do
you know what it is? This sounds like a joke. It's the eyebrows. She's had them. I'm not kidding. She's had them since she was a kid, like, and has never. I don't think I've ever seen her in a project where they try to like.
Yeah, tame them.
And before, I mean, eyebrows are. We're allowed to have eyebrows now, which is nice.
Crazy.
Culture has caught up with her, but I really genuinely believe that has a lot to do with it.
Well, and in real life, it seems like she grew up in like an outsider sort of way. She grew up in the Chelsea. She lived in the Chelsea Hotel in Manhattan with her mom for a million years. There's all these stories about it. She said she and her best friend Talia roller skated in the hallways, spied on the drug dealers across the hall, and persuaded the bellman to go to the neighborhood deli at night to fetch them ice cream. She also then interned with a chef in Italy, trained to be a doula, and then lived in a trailer in the Catskills with her boyfriend. So like, she is kind of that person in her real life as well. The rules don't necessarily apply to what I'm going to do with my life.
Right,
so,
right.
Do you know what she has coming up? Am I going to get to share this with you for the first time?
I didn't. I mean, I looked at her. I didn't look at the. You are, because I did not look at her upcoming credits for IMDb.
This is going to be another Jersey connection.
Oh, good.
She's playing Bruce Springsteen's mom in the movie. She's playing Adele Springsteen.
Wait,
I know.
How old is she?
Well, it's got to be in flashbacks, right? Obviously, because this is when he's writing Nebraska, right?
Right. Okay.
But she's playing Adele Springsteen.
Wow, that's exciting.
That's wild.
Well, I haven't decided how I feel, but
we won't probably until we see the movie.
You think they'll invite us to the premiere?
Who, Jeremy Allen White?
Yeah, because he knows how much we love the bear.
Yeah, sure. I'll wait for my invite to come in the mail.
Cool.
Samantha is played as an adult by Demi Moore. Like we said, she's the narrator. She's a writer. When this movie started, and the very first thing we hear is another female narration. I was like, how many of these are we going to do where it's like narrated by a female character? Yeah,
I was thinking about it too. If they did Now and Then Today, Winona Ryder would be a great Demi Moore's character. I would be a great Samantha.
Absolutely.
Adult Samantha.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to
do
a version of this.
They have.
Huh.
Well, there was an attempt to do a TV series based on it, but also, and actually, I shouldn't say they have, but it was mentioned last year at the like Elle Women in Hollywood Awards, Demi Moore was presented with an award by her co-stars from this movie.
Cute.
And she basically said, like, she said, "We've shared so much of our past and there's still more to come. With that thought, there must be someone out here who's thinking, shouldn't we do a remake or do a sequel of Now and Then? Like, now and again. Talk to me after."
Oh, Now and Again.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, she just mentioned it in her speech. It's not like it's actually on the books or anything, but you know, I mean, they brought them all together again for the award last year. She's
funny. Especially her earlier career is stuff that I do really like. I love One Crazy Summer, but I watching it, and Ghost, of course.
Yeah. Ghost I had forgotten. I mean, that movie I saw multiple times. It grossed $505 million.
Insane.
And it was the most rented video cassette of 1991.
That's so cool.
I know.
I love that movie. But she's not, like, just watching this, I was like, man, Demi Moore's so cool. It never landed on me until watching this movie this time for some reason.
I really believe that Striptease did a whole number on her career. Right after Ghost, she appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair, shot by Annie Leibovitz, pregnant and in the nude. And this was like a huge deal. Also, another Jersey connection, obviously Bruce Willis. But after Ghost, she starred in a movie called Mortal Thoughts, which is not something I've seen, with Bruce Willis. And she called it a passion project because she wanted a more challenging role following the success of Ghost, and was particularly drawn to her character's New Jersey dialect. Maybe we need to watch this movie.
It's a very difficult accent.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think, like, she had a run of movies, Striptease, The Juror, and then G.I. Jane. All three, she got the Golden Raspberry for Worst Actress.
That sucks.
So, like, going from this height of, you know, Ghost and part of the Brat Pack, this whole, like, Hollywood starlet thing, to a run of movies where she was just panned for her acting.
Well, and it's funny, I've actually never seen Striptease or G.I. Jane or... what was the third one?
The Juror.
Or The Juror. But that Striptease is an overtly sexual movie. She's panned for that. And then she does G.I. Jane, where she, like, does this more, like...
yeah, masculine
like, shaves her head and gets panned for that, too. It's like...
yeah.
You can't fucking win.
Well, and weirdly, for G.I. Jane, like, the film got mixed reviews, and she got the Golden Raspberry, whatever, but... the critics actually mostly liked her performance in that movie. So, but I think it just dominoed, and eventually her career just kind of went. She also, to be fair, really pulled herself back from Hollywood and was turning things down a lot after she had her kids. She literally moved away from Hollywood to raise her kids and just not be a part of it for a while.
Right. Rumor is in this movie.
Yeah, as the little sister. But yeah, I found a slightly more horrifying fact about Demi Moore, which was really upsetting to me. She, according to the New York Times, is the world's most high-profile doll collector. She reportedly kept a separate residence to house her 2,000 dolls.
I was trying to predict.
I don't think you could have gotten that one.
I would have needed. It's like, you know, that thing, like...
monkeys typing Shakespeare?
100%. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Eventually,
You'd get to doll collector?
I'd get to doll collector, but it would take a really, really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Horrifying.
What do you... To me, why would you do this?
I don't... I think she's weirder than we think she is.
Yeah.
Like... and mostly I like that about her, but that's a little freaky. So in the movie, she is an author, like we said, but she writes science fiction. And so that ties back to our ghost story of Dear Johnny, which we haven't really even mentioned. But, like, they do seances in the cemetery. It's very My So-Called Life teen that signed the book. What's his? I don't remember. But like, there's this,
I said I was watching it with my housemate, and I said I didn't remember so much of this feeling like an episode of like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, or like Charmed, or any of the witchy.
Another reason why it makes sense that I liked this movie so much as a kid. Like,
yeah,
I loved anything like that.
I mean, after I watched this movie, the next thing that my TV suggested to me was Teen Witch.
Of course.
Which
Perfect.
is a movie that I was obsessed with when I was a kid. Anything witchy, really, but Teen Witch was a big one for me. Because she became pretty and popular.
That's what I mean, too, about this movie feeling so like my childhood. Yeah. We did stuff like this. Everything these kids were doing, we did, too. Like, it just...
Yeah. Absolutely. I was surprised because, again, I went into this not knowing really anything about it. I was surprised at the witchy part. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe here should mention Janine Garofalo.
I know, another Jersey
as the diner waitress / medium.
Yeah, I was excited for you to encounter Willadine.
Willadine, yeah, she was born in Newton.
Janine, she's another one. This movie's got a lot of cool women in it.
It really does, yeah. Yeah, she also went to Providence College, which I didn't know. Fun fact about Janine Garofalo, at one point or another, she's worked with every member of Kids in the Hall.
Huh.
Pretty cool.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah. Another Jersey connection with her, apparently, and I didn't know this because I don't think I've ever watched the DVD. I'm sure you have, the DVD commentary for Dogma.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, Kevin Smith said that in retrospect, he wished he'd offered Bethany to her because Linda Fiorentino and he did not have a good working relationship.
She would have been great.
I know.
She would have been really good in that role. She would have crushed it.
Yeah. She ended up being the coworker at the abortion clinic, but yeah.
That's funny because Bethany is a little more wry than I think
Linda Fiorentino,
can really convey.
Yeah. She's missing an edge.
Yeah, that character, as soon as that character makes so much more sense if you think about her as Janine Garofalo.
Yeah, he said he wished he'd offered it to her.
Wow, Kev.
Yeah, missed the correct decision there, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Linda Fiorentino always rang a little weird in that role to me. And
I think now that I have that fan cast of Kevin Smith, I can now that like makes clear what it is that is a little off in that role, and it's
absolutely
she doesn't kind of have that wryness. I think
right.
It's in the character and in the dialogue.
There's like it's wryness. It's like a sort of sarcastic edge that she's trying to put on that would have been like fully natural to Janine Garofalo.
Exactly.
Our last of the four is Chrissy. I did not like the fat shaming of Chrissy. I know that this happens in every movie from this time period, and it's like without it would actually be weird that they like just let it go that she was slightly.
Two things. I mean, a lot to say about that. It starts out where the first couple of times I'm like, are they fat shaming that little girl? And then it builds and builds, and then eventually like she's like eating in lots of scenes when there's no reason, and they're like so much of that. I thank God though. I think you'll understand the spirit in which I mean this, that the actor, they cast her as an adult is like not wearing a fat suit or something like that.
Yes, I know. You wouldn't be surprised in 95.
No. Yeah. Because it's almost like you could.
I mean, the actor that plays her is Rita Wilson, who is quite thin. Mm-hmm. She's pregnant, but otherwise she's not a heavier person in any way. Yeah,
I wish they'd used, if they wanted to do something, it's just because it's the 90s and of course you have to be there has to be, like, it's unsurprising that this is their role. But there might have been something a little more interesting to do, where like commenting on our obsession with weight and women. You know what I mean? And you could have had that in there, but been a little smarter about it.
Well, they kind of accidentally did that by casting Rosie O'Donnell, who was a little bit heavier, as the adult version of Christina Ricci. Mm-hmm. They really flipped them. And if they hadn't commented so much on the weight of this child, it would have actually been kind of coolly like subversive to not mention it and just do that.
People grow
People gain
differently.
And lose weight. Yeah.
But no.
No, we had to make fun of her.
Just constant.
I know.
Is it that she didn't have enough to do, so they had to be like, let's give this character something else? Well, she can be the...
I mean, but she does have other things to do. Like, there's a whole thing made about how naive she is about sex and how her mom, like, lies to her and says it's a garden and, like...
Bonnie Hunt, by the way.
Yeah,
Shout out Bonnie Hunt.
But her whole thing is being this, like, innocent, slightly annoying, chastising, both adult and young person. Like, I found her character... I felt bad for her because of the stupid fat shaming, but I also was like, wow.
Yeah.
She's... like... really judgmental in both timelines.
It's another movie where a girl thinks the kissing can get you pregnant.
Yep. Yep.
And though she gets one of my favorite moments when they're all spying on the naked children in the water.
God.
But when everybody's like, you don't have to look, and they're being so understanding of Chrissy's more buttoned up, and Chrissy's like, fine, I'll do it, as if they're really forcing her.
Yeah, poor thing.
She gets one of the funniest parts for me in this movie is the way she plays that. So
yeah,
so at least she does get to like.
Yeah, and you know when Roberta Christina Ricci fakes her death, she slaps her, which I was like, good.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
and then
fucked up.
Yeah, it is
the Harold and Maude of it all.
The Harold and Maude of it all.
Yeah.
Is it because this is Stand By Me for girls and we have a chubby boy in Stand By Me? Is that
why we have to have a chubby girl?
We have to have the... Again, not that
you just
she
need
really,
the types. You need the, like, you know, bumbling, like, you know, naive, like... very, very mildly heavier than the rest of them, but we'll talk about it like she's obese.
It's funny that for the boys in Stand By Me, he is, like, whatever, I don't want to comment on a child's body, but the difference is more noticeable.
It's more noticeable, yeah.
But because it's a girl, she's, again, like you said, is slightly bigger than the other girls.
She's like a normal-sized child.
And it's her, like, defining
like, she hasn't had her growth spurt yet, like the rest of them have, and they've shot up and, like, went from... normal to super skinny, because that is what happens when you're 12 or 13 and you shoot up. A lot of kids, men and women, girls and boys, go from like softer and a little rounder to like all elbows and knees and bones and stuff, and that's kind of the phase that Christina Ricci's in, Gabby Hoffman's in, like, but yeah. So like we said, the older version's played by Rita Wilson. The younger version played by Ashley Aston Moore. Not much to say here. She had a few other appearances on TV after this, but she passed away when she was 26. Rita Wilson, famously, unfortunately, the first thing that always comes to mind is who she's married to, which is a bummer.
And also that she
got COVID.
That they're like patient zero.
Yeah, they were the first famous people we knew that got COVID when they were abroad somewhere. But she's also an actor and a musician and a producer and all of that. She was she's I didn't actually know this. She's Greek Orthodox. Like, her family's very Greek, and she was part of how My Big Fat Greek Wedding got made.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was instrumental in helping the Nia Vardalos, the playwright, get it made. She was a producer on it.
Nice.
It's so random.
Good for her.
Yeah, I think they're like honorary Greek citizens now too, or like honorary whatever. Like, they were honored by the Greek government, her and Tom Hanks. But she was in a lot of movies too. Like, she also is an actor in her own right. Including, apparently, a dancer in Teen Witch. Oh my God, I did not know that. Next time you watch that, you'll have to keep your eyes out for Rita. But she's in, she's been in Bonfire of the Vanities, Mixed Nuts, Sleepless in Seattle, That Thing You Do, Jingle All the Way. Like, she's just not the main, she's not the lead. She's another one of those. Of them. Yeah. She's also in 7 episodes of Girls. Oh, interesting. Yeah. She's also in 6 episodes of The Good Wife, a show I've not watched, but but everyone is in. Comes up all the time. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how these things overlap. She apparently, in a separate article not related to this movie, credits Rosie O'Donnell as an inspiration for her charitable work. Oh, cool. So, specifically with, like, cancer and children's charities. Yeah, she's pretty involved, I think, right, with... Yeah. 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 So, I mean, that's our main cast. We have... Hold on, I'm so sorry. Nope, go for it. I'm just looking at her credits, and I saw one called Sinners, and so it's from 1990, obviously. Oh, it's not No, but I was like, but I was like, oh, what's this about? I wonder. Love is in the air in a small Italian neighborhood of New York, but
is it safe to cheat on your wife with your cousin whose brother owns a shotgun and whose hobby is blowing up cars?
Oh my God. Did an AI bot write that?
Right?
Good Lord.
Incredible. Anyway.
Wow. Some of our side cast we can mention.
Is there a single role in this movie other than the Wormers who aren't Devon Sawa that isn't played by somebody
like kind of famous?
Yeah.
I mean, they all pretty much are. All the little side characters are people like Hank Azaria, Bonnie Hunt, like Cloris Leachman.
Mm-hmm. She's really funny. Her and her old lady gang going out to
She's funny in everything.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her. Again, another weird connection. In 1999, she posed nude on the cover of Alternative Medicine Digest, sort of as a parody of the Demi Moore covers of Vanity Fair.
That's great.
Like, I love these, like, really, like, older generation comedic ladies and their strange senses of humor. Mm-hmm. Walter Sparrow is Crazy Pete, who we haven't really talked too much about, but again, every suburban town has, like, at least in Jersey, has, like, some local legend who, like, wanders the town that everyone's afraid of, but you find out, like, of course, it's his family that died in this. Like, his kid was Dear Johnny.
It's funny it takes the girls
so long.
Well, none of them figure it out except for Samantha because she's presented with irrefutable evidence.
Yeah, she sees him putting flowers on the graves.
It's so Home Alone. It's so Old Man Marley.
Yeah. He was also in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and the thing that I thought you might know him from that I don't is he was Ben Weatherstaff in Secret Garden.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about this ages ago. I loved that book and have read it 1,000 times, but never saw the movie.
Oh, I love that book, have read it 1,000 times, and have seen the movie 1,000 times.
I can't change the vision in my head from the book by watching the movie. But the good news is
you don't need to because the movie is so good. It's so exactly what you've spent your life imagining.
I am attached to my version. Lolita Davidovich as Mrs. Albertson, Samantha's mom. I wrote in my notes, where do I know her from? I went through her whole filmography. I could not pinpoint exactly where I know her from, but I've seen her in everything. Like, she's always somebody's, like, put upon mother in things. And then, of course...
Yeah, she didn't stick out to me for anything in particular, I don't think.
Yeah. And then, of course, Hank Azaria as her boyfriend, who we know from a million things, but obviously Simpsons, Birdcage, lots of things. Bonnie Hunt as Chrissy's mom. Bonnie Hunt, who keeps almost getting, like, her big sitcom break, or did for a really long time, but never quite landed, like, a lasting show. She was a co-founder of a 3-woman improv troupe in Chicago.
Cool.
Anyone else that we need to mention? We talked about Brendan Fraser, Rumor Willis.
Jodie, I know you don't care, but we have to talk about Devon Sawa whether
I don't care, but go ahead.
What do you mean?
Go ahead. I have nothing to say. He's a young child person in this movie.
He's a young child person in this movie. I grew up loving him, but not in the same way I grew up loving Leo or something like that. I think he's just in a million movies that I love and have grown up loving, and has continued to pop up in things that, and also just like he seems to be on the right side of a lot of things on the internet. So
that's good.
But like,
it's a shame when people like Kirk Cameron turn out to be who they are.
Exactly. But the first thing that I loved him in was Little Giants. And then, like you said, Casper Now and Then are the same year. I love Casper. Just to shit out a few, because he's another one who's worked forever and ever. SLC Punk.
Yeah.
Which, no, is not a movie you've seen?
I have no idea. I think it is, because it's one that I am well aware of, and my friends have talked about, and I feel like I've seen it, but again, it could be that memory hole.
Yeah, I think you were the right age for that one, and it is a movie about punk kids.
Yeah. I feel like I watched it at somebody's house, sitting on like a beer-stained carpet or something.
Right. I love that movie. That's another one that we could cover at some point.
98, yeah. Yeah, right time.
Idle Hands and Final Destination, because I'm a sucker for bad 90s horror. Slackers is a movie I really love. It's a guilty pleasure movie.
I like
for
Slackers
me.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, just a billion other things. He's
Stan in the Eminem video.
Why the fuck is there an SLC Punk sequel I didn't know about? I was going to say, and then of course, most importantly, he's Stan.
Right.
Which is literally where the word to, like, when people say to stan, I think a lot of people don't know that. It comes from Stan, the obsessive Eminem fan.
I am not people. I did know that.
Mm-hmm. He's also in Hard Eyes, which is Josh Rubin directed horror movie that people love. I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be one of those really fun, like, kind of classic feeling slasher movies with
Josh Rubin of Obsessively Affectionate Cat on TikTok fame.
and also
other things.
Man, that grosses me out. But also Scare Me, which we covered.
Yes. No, I'm aware.
Dropout, of course, which we talk about all the time.
Yes.
And lots of other things.
And his cat really likes to lick his beard.
Yes, it's so gross. And he directed Werewolves Within, which is another fun horror movie that I like in recent years.
That's pretty much the cast.
Did we just do the movie?
Yeah. It's basically a character study of like 4, types of young women and what they turn into. So one thing I just have not figured out where this goes in our conversation, so we'll just say it now as we're sort of wrapping up the cast list. It was originally titled the Gaslight Edition, which is the name of their neighborhood. Which is a crazy thing to name a neighborhood.
It's a crazy thing.
I mean, I understand gas lights were literally a light that was lit by gas. I understand that. Right. But it's just given the context of that phrasing.
And I've just never heard of a neighborhood that is an addition with the name addition. In it's just like a weird. Yeah. And so even in that one interview on set at the cemetery, they refer to it as the Gaslight Edition.
That's what it was actually called.
Yeah. And so it's even funnier that it's called Now and Then, because the now is 2 little baby scenes. It's like, it's barely now. It's mostly then.
They're gaslighting us into thinking the movie is going to be about 2 timelines.
Well, it kind of worked for me because I thought I've seen this movie a million times, and my memory of it is that it is Now and Then.
They messed with your memory.
Mm-hmm.
They gaslit you.
They gaslit me. Yeah. Also, Gaslight Edition, my favorite band from New Jersey.
Gaslight Edition.
Mm-hmm.
For our audience, she does know it's Gaslight Anthem. She's just fucking around.
Okay, good point. Really good point.
Just so nobody comes at you.
Can I ask you a question that I've had a debate with about my housemate, with my housemate over and over again?
Yes.
There are 2 bands from New Jersey. I mean, there's more than 2 bands.
I was going to say, there's more than 2, but okay.
But one is Gaslight Anthem. Mm-hmm. There's another band they're a ska band. And I'm telling for our listeners, but you'll know when I say this name, Streetlight Manifesto.
Oh, yeah.
That's the same name.
Yeah.
Gaslight, Streetlight, Anthem, Manifesto.
Yeah.
That's like if Gaslight Anthem became a band, became famous, whatever, and then a ska band started, and they were just going to do Gaslight Anthem covers.
Ska covers.
They could be called Streetlight Manifesto.
Which should exist.
Well, but they can't because they'd have to call themselves Streetlight Manifesto, and that band already exists.
Well, they could call themselves, like, it's another word for streetlight.
Gaslight.
No, another one.
They're the only 2.
No, there's got to be more. Yeah, somebody.
But right?
Yeah, no, totally. But one of our listeners needs to send us a name option for a ska cover band of Gaslight Anthem songs that is not Streetlight Manifesto.
Yeah, let us know. I got into Gaslight's one of my favorite bands. I got into them late because I would conflate the 2, and I never saw those 2 names together. It's not like I don't think they ever played together or anything. So in my head, if you asked me if I liked Gaslight Anthem, I probably would have said, ska's like, other than like a couple of bands, not really my thing. And Gaslight Anthem is not a ska band.
Right?
So I just wanted to just see what your thoughts on that were. But they are the same.
No,
name.
You are correct. But I also want to mention that there are more than 2 New Jersey bands.
Yes. There are, in fact, more than 2 New Jersey ska bands.
Yeah, there sure are. Good Lord.
But there are 2 New Jersey bands at least. Anyway, I just had to put that on the record. Let me know what you think, listeners, or if you disagree.
Yeah.
But they're the same name.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about like reception, interpretation. So we talked about the reception mostly just in the fact that it was mixed, not great, Critics didn't really love this film. Our friend Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars and gave a really pretty scathing review. He talked about the actors being good in their roles, but other than that, he really didn't like this movie.
It's funny. I thought I was expecting this to be a horrifically sexist review. And for the most part, it wasn't.
Yeah, there is one line at the end where he talks about Man in the Moon, which is a male-directed movie about a girl.
The two. He talks about Stand By Me throughout a few times, which is like... Yeah. But for the most part, his issues with it aren't that it's about girls, which I was sort of expecting it to be.
Right. No, his issues are pretty legitimate. He says... in theory, we might be interested in seeing what kind of women the girls grew up to be, but the movie gives the adults so little screen time that it has to resort to shorthand, like using smoking as a character trait. And I would like to argue that in the 90s, smoking was a character trait.
Oh, materialists. Dakota Johnson's character and Chris Evans' character. I don't think Pedro's is, but they're both smokers, and it's not a thing. It's so weird that we're smoking again in
as I realized when I was in New York recently, smoking is back in a weird way with the young folks.
It bums me out.
Yeah, it bums me out too, because we don't need to go do that again. But yeah, he really didn't like it. Neither did most critics. TV Guide gave it 2 stars and sneered at the sappy derivative girls coming-of-age tale set in the groovy 70s. I would like to point out that one of my favorite parts of this movie was the set dressing and the costumes. There was some great wallpaper in this movie. It looks great.
I think this movie is sweet. I don't think it's sappy. I didn't find
it's on the border for me.
The sap... I'm lying. For the most part, I don't find it sappy, other than the adult
ending?
Back ending.
Yeah, that's super sappy.
That is really sappy. But I guess I'm sort of not counting that as the movie because it's so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a coda. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
How'd they get that baby up in that treehouse? Who carried that baby up into that treehouse?
Put some provolone on that baby.
Wants to melt some provolone on a fucking baby.
Melt some provolone on that baby. I think the last thing that I want to kind of talk about with this movie before we go on to what we're going to talk about next week is the fact that we are constantly mentioning how white these movies are. Mm-hmm. And, in some ways I feel like we're perfectly qualified to talk about it because we're 2 white people that, are aware that most things were made for us. Mm-hmm. But also it's nice to hear from someone thinking about these things that isn't white. Mm-hmm. So there was an article in Vice, their subhead called Broadly, which doesn't exist anymore, by Zoe Samudzi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, in 2018, called What White Girl Coming of Age Movies Don't Do for a Black Girl. I liked the way that she put a lot of this. She said, these films about white female adolescence and teenhood revolve around particular experiences of and meditations on dissatisfaction and boredom, using nostalgia as their primary pull. And yet for me, their projections of high school misery and endless summers only served as a reminder that black girls are never afforded the kind of ordinariness that would make them relatable to white audiences. Right. Which I thought was worth saying, considering how many of these we've done. Mm-hmm. The other quote that I thought was really good, actually there's a bunch of them, I won't read all of them. We can link to this in the show notes. I did find the actual working link. She says, I watch these coming-of-age stories because I similarly yearn for my own escape from the stifling whiteness of suburbia. But because I was black, none of these stories were really for me. Not the blockbuster features, not the independent manic pixie dream girl ones either. If I found myself in these films at all, I got to see myself as a filler or stock character or foil to the protagonist, a bully, a competitor, a neighbor, a sidekick, an aloof pretty girl, an adopted sibling, a kindly counselor or teacher or classmate, all of which were Lady Bird's token black characters. Service worker, a passing character on the street. It was almost as if the characters were created to prepare me for a life of subordination to the narratives and life stories and yearnings and desires and humanities of white women.
Yep.
Yeah. So because a lot of these movies have real nostalgia and significance for us, I do think that it's good to hear from someone that kind of positions that in a broader context.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Not just our myopic growing up,
right. Mm-hmm.
So we'll link to that in the show notes. It's a really sort of interesting exploration of this a specific perspective on these films, and not just the ones in the 90s. She's talking about Lady Bird. She's talking about more current movies. And I think it's interesting to think about, in some ways, like how far we haven't come in this specific genre of movie too. Like the suburban, like virgin suicides is also mentioned in that.
Of course.
Yeah, so definitely worth reading. That said, we're going to go in the other direction next week.
Well, I want to,
okay.
And then the last thing that I'd like to talk about just briefly. I don't have a ton, but the soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
every
it's great.
Song. It's
great.
So good. I feel like most of the budget probably went to getting the rights for these songs. Almost every song is like from the 70s. I read that there are a few where it's like, actually that song didn't come out until 71, but who cares? It's more, this movie's like a little nostalgia vibe feeling. It's not, I don't think it's really that concerned with that. But after Signed, Sealed, Delivered, the next song in this movie is As I Lay Me Down, Sophie B. Hawkins.
Yeah.
Which is so important to me, but we've talked about because it's used 3 times in Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
It's also in Community in the Sophie B. Hawkins dance episode. It's apparently Sophie B. Hawkins plays it, is like a guest on Party of Five and sings it there.
I don't remember that. I'm sure I saw it, but
you just wouldn't have cared as much because you don't have you didn't yet have the Dawson's Creek connection.
Sometimes the fact that I watched the entirety of Dawson's Creek during the run of this podcast is still shocking to me.
It makes me
as
so
a thing
happy.
that I did.
Well, I love it, and I'm so glad you did. So, yeah, important song for me as a child, and one that keeps on coming back.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I think it's the only one in this movie that isn't from 1970.
Yeah. It is a really good soundtrack. Like, and it has that, like, even if I hadn't read all of the reviews that compare it to Stand By Me, the riding the bikes and singing along to the song, I'm like, wait a minute.
There's even like a shot of train tracks, I think.
They ride their bike past like a train trestle. I know.
That's the thing, is like you can compare it to Stand By Me, but I don't think it was trying to pretend it wasn't that necessarily.
Sure. And honestly, like we said in the beginning, like there's nothing wrong with when there's so few movies about young girls' experiences in just doing that. But we're just gonna watch it.
I know it's sort of, there's something dismissive about talking about this movie and then being like, okay, but let's watch the real one.
I know. That's not how I feel about it. But also all of this talk about Stand By Me in relationship to it, we've talked about doing that movie for a while. We just haven't, because it's not on any of the, like, it's not connected directly to any of the things that we've been covering. It's not on the Yellow Jackets list, although it certainly could be. But we're just going to do it because we were going to anyway, and this gave us a reason. I love this movie
so much. I don't think we've had a movie in quite a while that you and I are both
it's been a minute.
Huge fans of.
Yeah, we did that in the beginning a bunch, but yeah, I mean, this movie also, but you and I both were sort of Stephen King obsessives growing up. As someone who, I've said many times, really doesn't like horror movies now. I read all of Stephen King's books that were...
That's so funny.
Even the, like, the ones that were thicker than they were, like, long.
Right, yeah.
Like the Tommyknockers nearly killed me.
Tommyknockers was the one I was just going to say.
Of course. And to the point where, like, I have a very weak stomach, and sometimes hearing something described to me will make me nauseous if it's, like, too gory. I had to stop reading this book. I remember specifically reading this book when I was a child, getting nauseous, having to put it down, and then forcing myself to pick it up again and keep going, because I really loved Stephen King. I don't know if it was my dad read him too. It was,
maybe it felt safer because you knew your dad was
my dad had read it and had survived. Yeah. He hadn't been like killed by some demon that came out of a book. Yeah. But so the reason we bring that up, obviously, is because this is based on his 82 novella, The Body. So
I haven't read The Body in a long time either. I
haven't read any Stephen King in a long time. I think I finally accepted that I didn't need to put myself through that. But
maybe I'll reread The Body for next week too. We'll see how much time I have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. It's available for free on the internet on one of those like weirdly named, I think it's on Philo that you can do with
phyllo?
Phyllo.
I had really good baklava last night, so
with the phyllo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure you can find it in a lot of other places for cheap or free. Also, your local library, probably.
Yeah, and apparently if you have the Flix channel, it is airing every other day, all the time.
Amazing.
So it's one of those movies. You'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. 1986.
1986, taking place in 1959. Does the math check out? That it is 20, it's 27 years versus 25. Longer. But just barely.
Yeah.
Should we write our Stand By Me?
Oh, my God. I mean, the Jersey version.
A Jersey Stand By Me?
Yeah. It would be so hard to make it actually about, well, you could certainly find a Jersey story to write it about, but like your instinct would just be to suddenly turn it into like Hunting the Jersey Devil instead of an actual body. But
correct.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
TM.
Yeah. But I mean, it kind of, to me, like, it was attempted. What was that movie we watched that had the crazy ending where they wrapped her up in plastic?
The last broadcast. No, I'm talking about, now I'm getting so excited. TM.
Yeah, like a 12-year-old kid.
4 12-year-old kids in 1992, maybe? We'll narrow it down, but not quite. There's not enough internet yet. So we'll say 91, I know. To 92.
Me, I want it to be like 89, but that's just because I'm old. Like 89, I was 13.
We can say late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. We'll flesh it out. Yeah. We'll have to see like what's going on. I still had a perm in
early 90s, so I was, not quite.
It'll be mixed gender because we have our Stand By Me for boys, we have our Stand By Me for girls, and now we'll have our Stand By Me for kids.
Right.
Oh my God.
Kids.
A kid-led adventure movie in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. And it's like cousins getting together so we can have a couple of North Jersey freaks and a couple
I like
of
the
South
cousins
Jersey.
Idea. I have lots of cousins and I didn't have any siblings really, so
I have, again, one older brother, 10 years older than me, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, but my cousins were my adventure buddies.
Yeah, so.
TM. It's ours.
TM.
Don't take it.
That's so good.
Yeah. Okay. So that's next week.
The summer of 1992. 4 kids venture into the Pine Barrens, go on the adventure of a lifetime. And they think they're going to find the Jersey Devil, but what they find is so much more,
Yeah. The humans are the real enemy.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't steal it from us.
TM.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to do it for us for this week. We have to go write our movie. And we'll see you all next week. You can find us on Instagram at WatchersPodNJ. You can email us at WatchersPodNJ@gmail. And you can find me on Instagram at Jodie_Mim, JODIE_MIM.
And I'm at AQ Andrea Q.
And we will see you next week in Castle Rock.
That's right.
Walking down those train tracks.
Wow.
Singing some songs.
I can't wait.
Gotta go find a body.